What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome if it's your first time here. Since you're on this channel, then no doubt you are aware of the need for food storage, and right now the absolute urgency to put back more food because the economy is falling apart, the supply chain is starting to crumble, has been for a while. We are getting ready to go into most likely World War III within a few months to a couple of years at the most, I think. Things are looking bad, and having a good supply of food put back on hand to feed you and your family during a crisis and to see you through that crisis until you can actually start your own food production where you are in your property, you need food storage. Unfortunately, a lot of people are completely paralyzed when it comes to the topic of food storage. They will read, books and magazine articles on prepping food storage, but they're still paralyzed, not knowing what to actually go out and purchase. And most things you need to purchase can be still bought at your local supermarket. There's a few items that are hard to store items that I'll talk about here in a few minutes that are best to buy in these number 10 cans like this. However, buying those pre-packaged multi-year food supplies, a year, 6 months, 3 years, whatever food supply packages from the survival food companies, isn't really necessary. It's expensive and isn't really necessary, and in my opinion, isn't the best option. But people want a simple option, and that's why they purchase these pre-packaged survival foods in these, these year, multi-month to 1 year or more food storage packages because they want an easy solution. They want to put the money down, get that shipped to them, and think they're set, good to go against any type of, disaster. But it is expensive, and like I said, not the best way to go in my opinion. The best way to go is, like I said, foods from your local supermarket. And my top foods I have laid out here on the shelf. Your food stores will be different than mine, and I have more variety than what I have on this table. However, what is on this table make up the bulk of my food storage. And the first item is pinto beans. Pinto beans are fairly cheap still. The only downside to dried pinto beans is the energy it takes to actually cook these. But you can grind these up using a grinder and make these into a mush, and they cook much quicker. Pre-soaking will also make these cook much quicker. You can also cook these halfway or 3/4 of the way through, and then put these inside of thermos bottles, Stanley thermos bottles, and close those lids down. We'll hold that heat and leave that set up overnight, and that heat will actually finish the cooking process and saving energy. And guys, next on this list is rice. Now you can store back brown rice or white rice. Brown rice has more fiber and nutritional value. However, white rice has a better storage life. I recommend you store a little bit of both. And next on this list is hard red winter wheat. I have a number 10 can here, and this is a great way to store this. However, I also have quite a bit of this in 5-gallon buckets. 5-gallon bucket, Mylar bag, oxygen absorber, sealed, and it's good to go for eternity. Hard red winter wheat has an indefinite shelf life. Next is instant dried milk. This is a hard item to store, and this is one of the items I recommend you get from the survival food companies if possible, because in these number 10 cans, they're pre-packaged for long-term storage. This will give you much longer storage life than if you just buy this like in a cardboard container at the local supermarket. Contains oxygen absorber, discarded immediately upon opening. Shelf life best when stored in cool, dry place at temperatures between 55 and 70 degrees with 15% humidity. Sealed, 10-year storage life. Opened, 1-year storage life. However, I think it will have a much longer storage life than that. And next on this list is salt. I would recommend that you take the salt out of these containers, these cardboard containers, and put this into glass containers like mason jars or in 5-gallon buckets, for example, to keep moisture out, because this cardboard containers, they were bad to collect moisture and make that salt harden up. However, even if the salt does, harden up because of the moisture, you can always break that up and still use that just the same. However, I prefer to remove it from these type containers as quickly as possible. And guys, next on my list is honey. You can store back honey and sugar, and both have a indefinite shelf life. And next is cooking oil. I like extra virgin olive oil. You can put this back in a freezer to increase the storage life, but definitely essential. And guys, next is peanut butter. I like to put back the creamy type instead of the crunchy type. Over here we have some of the things I talked about a minute ago that are difficult to store type foods, the things you need to cook with, but are difficult to store. If you go just like the supermarket and pick that up and bring it home, it's difficult to store that for long periods of time. However, if it's pre-packaged for long-term storage by the survival food companies, has a much longer storage life. And margarine powder is one of those that is hard to store. There's others, I'm just going to go a couple here. And we have over here butter powder. Both are difficult to store. Like I said, some things are best bought from the survival food companies because they're simply difficult to just go like to the supermarket and bring those back and store those long term. Buying it like this will give a very long shelf life, or at least the longest shelf life you're going to possibly get with margarine, for example, or butter. Next is oats. This is, again, is a number 10 can. These are metal cans that are great for storage. However, you can get these, as you already know, at your local supermarket. Pick these up, store these in 5-gallon buckets and Mylar bags with the oxygen absorber, seal that up, and it's just as good as buying it like this. The next is canned foods. Canned meats, canned fruits, canned vegetables, and some, variety of food like beef stew and soups and chicken noodle soups and things like that. Over here we have coffee. Instant coffee. Stores very well and is definitely recommended if you are a coffee drinker. And the last item on the list over here is things like, baking soda, cornstarch, pepper, yeast, spices, and baking powder. So one of the great things about wheat, you can set up a sprouting system, and all that is, you get a mason jar, you get a lid, and the ring on the lid, put a screen over that, put the wheat in that, flush that about 3 times a day to keep that moist, and then drain that out and let that set. And in a few days, your little small bundle of wheat will sprout out and expand out into, sprouts. And those sprouts are highly nutritious and definitely will increase your needed nutrient intake in a long-term survival situation. During the winter months, you can sprout this, and like I said, this will increase. You can sprout a lot of different grains and eat those. You can dry those sprouts out, grind those up, and put those in the bread. You can eat those raw, and to give you green, leafy, fresh food to eat during any time of the year. All you need is some seeds, some jars, some screen, and some time to sprout that out. Anyways, guys, hope this video helps. Hope you found something useful in this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching. I'm the Creekmore. I'm out of here, and I'll see you all in the next video, hopefully.